Hey, everybody. Another edition of Your Mind on Money video podcast. I am again sitting at the deck of the Trail Yard in Valparaiso, one of my favorite places to hang out in Northwest Indiana for dinner with the family or a cocktail. So come check it out. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about generative AI, or as many people just refer to it, AI, which is getting a lot of attention in the press. So I've seen the movie, right? Actually, I've seen all the movies, probably like 7 to 10 times each. The Matrix, Ultron, Terminator. I get it. The AI thing, it never ends well for us, right? It always ends with a burned out husk of a planet or a killer robot. And so when you start talking about AI coming into fruition, that is our frame of reference, and it can be a little bit scary. And so, sci-fi aside, let's talk a little bit more about the reality of AI and the way it's emerging and the way that it could go. So artificial intelligence is now getting to the point where it can generate content on its own, whether that content is images or voice or text. And it's pretty clever. Now, if you've ever interacted with ChatGPT or any of the other generative AI engines on the internet, you can say that it is pretty clever, but nobody's going to say that it's very clever. Because I think, quite frankly, the content that it's generating right now, at least from a text point of view, is kind of boring. And I think that's why any college kid who ever attempts to use it to cheat on a essay gets caught, because the way that it writes and the scope of what it writes is actually pretty middle of the road, plain vanilla. It doesn't show a ton of insight. And so, um, from a interesting point of view, I don't think it's as interesting as it's being made in the press. And I also think that we've been interacting with AI on a lot of levels in a lot of different ways for a long time. I would use one example is if you've ever put an online job application in, chances are any posting on it, Indeed.com or something like that, is getting literally thousands of applicants. And there's no way that those applicants and those resumes are being distilled to lead to the 30 that they're going to interview or the 10 that they're going to interview by human beings. And so AI is interacting and doing word search and doing screening for that process to result in a filtering. And so that wasn't that scary, right? Hopefully you got the call and you got to do the interview, but somewhere in the middle, there was AI before it got to a human being. I think that's really where AI is going to be positioned in our society going forward. It's going to take a lot of data. It's going to filter it. It's going to make it smaller, and it's going to serve it to a human being that is going to make decisions, that is going to take action. And it's going to be a very long time, probably the rest of my life, before we get to the point where AI is actually taking that data, distilling it, and then making the decision for the humans. I think human beings are going to still be necessary in most things for quite a long time. And so I don't think AI is going to be as much of a job killer as people are saying right now. Just like the PC really wasn't a job killer, I think we would all love to be free of our PC because it didn't make our jobs necessarily easier, just made it more efficient over time. And the workload that we got just increased because the PC made it more efficient. I think that's the way it's going to play out with AI as well. From an investment point of view, people have compared AI to the web back in 1999, 2000, those years when the web was a very exciting new technology. And if you remember that time, the dot-com boom, there was a lot of players in that space that are no longer with us. Pets.com, Stance.com, they're not in their same form they were in 1999. But there are some that really survived that and became super important. eBay, Amazon, Microsoft. These are all companies that really took that technology and made the most out of it. Unlike the web, which was a much more simple technology to use, and entrepreneurs could take it and then learn how to use it and stage a business model, AI is much more expensive and tedious to get started with. And so you need a ton of data, you need a ton of computing power. That means you need a ton of money. And so I think the next phase of AI investment is probably going to be dominated by larger players that are already existing. We'll call the Microsofts, the Googles, the NVIDIAs. And I think that if I was going to play this trend, I would probably stay with those types of companies instead of looking for AI startups. So I'm not afraid of it. I've seen the Matrix. I don't want to be inside of a battery pod. But I don't think that's what's going to happen anytime soon. I am looking for opportunities there as are most investors, and don't try to use it to cheat on your term papers because it just won't work. So that's enough for me today. So have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.